That's the first time I've ever been greeted with a chant.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes.
Thank you all for coming. I'll just start since I'm on this side. I'm Rob Martin, FinOps Fellow with the FinOps Foundation, where I just passed my 4th year. Many of you know me from my training videos probably, and a lot of you have let me know that. But most recently, I have been honored to be supporting our AI working group and our public sector working group as well.
Yeah, and I'm Mike Fuller. I've been at the foundation for 2.5 years, but originally was one of the founding members of the foundation alongside JR and a few other members. And I guess some people know me because I wrote a book alongside JR, but yeah, we'll move on with the presentation.
All right, so when you hear the term generative AI, what do you think of? Do you think of the cool new opportunities to learn things? Do you think of all the value you'll be able to create for your organizations? Do you think about the productivity that you're going to build in your own capabilities?
Or is it just a new shiny thing, a huge waste of money and a bubble that's just about to burst?
Well, I guess it's okay to be a little bit skeptical.
And it's okay to be a little bit optimistic.
Yeah.
And so if you look at global cloud spend over the last 6 years, compared to Gen AI spend, you can see that it's just racing ahead. It took sort of cloud around 10 to 12 years to get to 600 billion annual, and it's taken Gen AI on track for 3 years. 10 years ago, cloud was kind of the new magic, the thing on everybody's lips, and now everyone's talking about AI. CIOs are kind of excited about what this is going to be, but potentially many of them are not exactly sure what it means for their organization. What's clear, though, is that FinOps practitioners need to be mature faster than they have ever before, but it is a huge opportunity for FinOps.
So we highlighted in a recent paper from the AI working group, and I'm going to refer to them several times here, talking about the differences and the similarities between public cloud scope, the normal things that you do to manage your public cloud, and the things that you might do to manage your AI spend as well. There's going to be a bunch of new terminology. Sorry, it's all new. Still working this out, folks. Everything is all new. There's going to be a lot of new terminology that you're going to have to deal with. There are going to be a lot of new engineering practices that you're going to have to understand, that your engineering teams, maybe those beyond your engineering teams, are going to start using. So there's going to be a lot of fuzzy math, there's going to be a lot of token counting in there and a lot of proxying that you may need to do. There's going to be a lot of product volatility. Some of you are probably already dealing with products that are just coming out and coming out and coming out at rapid speed, way faster than things had in the cloud before. And there's going to be a lot less predictable pricing and a lot less predictable throughput. And you probably have less experience forecasting a lot of these things. So there's going to be many new things you're going to have to account for.
At the same time, it's all the same. Like, you have dealt with a new area of technology spend. It's consumption-based billing, it's complex billing data that you've been able to handle before. You've worked on allocating costs out to teams and driving cost ownership.
But as you're thinking about all these things, the important thing overall, do not panic, because you probably know more than you think you do. So, what are the things that you need to do about your new AI spending? If you're starting to take on this scope, you're probably starting to do a lot of new interesting things. And I wanted to give you just a few examples of some of the things that you should be doing as you're taking on AI spending. First off, collaborate. You're going to be working with a lot more people, a lot more personas within your organizations probably. The low bar to entry of using AI in your company probably means you're going to deal with more and more folks who are starting to use it. So be ready to collaborate with those people. Secondly, measure the value that you're getting from this. Don't just go after the AI, but actually think about what it is that you're going to get, what value is your organization going to get from this investment you're making, and figure out ways to make that value drive your decision making, whether to do something, how to do something, how deeply to do something. Third, drive accountability. If you're working with more people in your organization, everybody's trying to use generative AI, this is going to be a thing where all those people have to also take responsibility for their spending. This is not a free-for-all where everybody gets to do a POC and they all get to do that for free. This is something where everybody's got to take that responsibility. And you're going to need to get a lot of that data, so there's going to be a really important job for your centralized FinOps team to gather that data together, to make it available and in a timely way, in a productive way, in a clean and trustworthy way to the people who are using those services. That's going to also lead to a governance surge. You're probably going to need to do more governance more quickly, and that is going to be a central team responsibility as well. And last, only use what you need. We heard yesterday that AI, I don't know if this is a surprise to anybody, GPUs are very expensive. AI resources are very expensive. And so these are maybe some of the most expensive resources you're using. You want to really take care at this time to only use those things that you need and pay the least amount that you need to pay for them.
This all makes sense, right? It should, because these are all just the FinOps principles. We defined them back in 2019, and we updated them just slightly in wording this year in order to encompass the way that they can apply to new technology areas just like AI. As we look at new types of systems, really like to help when you sort of conceptualize the basic parts. And so what is an AI system? Well, it's infrastructure that's running some form of model that's been trained. It has a framework and it's served through to some application that your customers interact with.
So not everybody in the room, not every person on a FinOps team needs to be an AI engineer, but having this kind of conceptual model lets you then tie that to the types of costs that you're going to see coming from that AI usage within your organization, right? So you're going to see infrastructure costs. We're all used to managing infrastructure costs in the cloud in particular. You're going to see data costs, not just cost of storing that data, but also moving it around and gathering it up in the first place. So that's going to be a big area that you'll need to focus on. Model training is going to be something that you'll need to do. So there are going to be training costs on that data. There's going to be training of your models if you're doing that sort of thing, or there just may be augmentation or fine-tuning costs that you incur and your data science teams will incur that you'll have to account for. Model operating costs are going to be similar to your production systems running or your business systems running in production, right? That's going to be where inference is occurring. You're going to have token costs for your users accessing those systems. There are going to be token costs going in, and there are going to be token costs coming out. So you're going to have to worry, you're going to have to manage that sort of less predictable flow of data as those things happen. And then, of course, there's going to be the application costs. A lot of AI costs are going to be additive. They're not going to be replacing an existing system in the data center. They're going to be added AI features or AI capabilities that you're building on top of your existing products. So that's going to be a lot of additive costs that you've got to take account of. So as we build those simple components out, what we wanted to try to do is show a little sort of architecture diagram as a way for you, and maybe for, this is a thing that I do, just sort of set my mind about where are these different costs coming in. If we think about a generic AI system, you're going to see a user interface layer, you're going to see an application or inference layer, you're going to have some kind of a model or models that are running inside of that, and then you're going to see requests and responses, right? At its simplest, this is how an AI system works. I send in a request, I get a response back, whether I'm a human typing in my browser or I'm an application that's sending that stuff in and out. If you're running or augmenting an existing model, you may also experience model lifecycle costs and training that you have to do as a part of that, and you'll need to have some sort of ML ops in place to handle that exercise. And then, of course, there's going to be all the components of your infrastructure, which we're all going to be very, this is the correct time to take that picture, yes. Okay. So there's going to be all these different areas of cost, and this model is going to be helpful, I think, to be able to show us how we can hang the different costs or hang the different conversations we have with the engineering teams as we go through this exercise.
And keep in mind, I guess this space is changing all the time. We kind of continuously sort of vet and ask people about these architectures. This is just a design of what we see a Gen AI system looking like.
So let's add in a few more details on this, because we're getting more detailed. Please hold your cameras. As we go through the typical use of this, there's going to be a lot of those capabilities that we talked about there. So the user requests are going to go in, there's going to be pre-processing and then model or models that are going to be running a lot of that inference. And then there's going to be post-processing, and then those responses are going to come back. And those responses may be just text responses, they may be affirmative responses, they may be using MCP to do something in the world, but that's going to be a cycle that's going to go on. And as we talked about, there are going to be also costs that are accrued around model lifecycle management. So the training costs, if you're training, the fine-tuning costs if you're fine-tuning, things like that. And then you're going to have all those infrastructure costs down below as well.
And across this whole architecture, people are making choices at every point in this. And if they're not considering costs in those choices, then it will impact the value of your AI system. Me first?
There we go.
All right. So looking at optimizations that we've seen identified in the recent Gen AI optimizations paper, it's things like prompt engineering. Most famously, there was an article around the cost of please and thank yous. And so prompt engineering is about what is really going into your AI model and how can you tailor the ingestion of that data. So maybe removing those please and thank yous and cuss words from your prompts.
If I remove the cuss words from my prompts, I'd probably never get any work done. You might also be doing something like prompt caching. If you've got a model or a system that is taking tons and tons of requests of very similar types, you might be able to save a lot of money by not forwarding every one of those requests to the model, but by using cached responses that are able to go back to the user, reducing the overall cost of the system.
Request parallelization allows you to run a prompt through multiple models and allows you to see trade-offs between different quality responses.
Yeah, check out Workday's talk about that tomorrow. You might see agentic orchestration begin to be used. So a lot of models are now becoming agentic, and they're starting to figure out themselves how to respond to your requests. So they can use deep reasoning to go through and figure out the process that they will actually use to solve your question. That can lead to the incursion. That can lead you to incur a lot of additional costs as those models then spin out additional processes, maybe using multiple different kinds of models or different process steps to really respond in kind to that.
Input compression, like do you really need to send a 4K 24-bit image in raw format in order for the AI model to determine that there's a chair, a picture, or a chair, a table, or a cat? You can sometimes reduce the size of that image coming in and change its format to a smaller format.
Yeah. You might do prompt routing. So there may be cases where you want the prompts coming in to go to different models. Brent Eubanks talks about this a lot in the AI working group. That you don't need to use the biggest model, the most capable model in the world to answer every question. Sometimes the questions that are being asked can be resolved by much simpler, much less expensive, and much more effective models. So the ability to send the prompts to the appropriate place can also increase the efficiency of your system overall.
And then model choice itself, whether or not using multiple models, the generation of those models that you have available in your applications, and then choice of using quantized models that are potentially smaller and maybe not quite as capable, but good enough quality for the use of your application.
Yeah. You're going to be able to make quality trade-offs in your post-processing, right? You've got the ability to tune and define how good you want how good you want responses to go back to the user. What quality do they need to be? Again, you're going to have a lot of decisions about what kinds of models you want to choose in order to create the quality output that your system demands, or that your strategic needs demand. We're going to have to go through this a little bit more quickly because we're running out of time. There's MCP integration that you may want to do to allow you to actually impact things on the outside, to do more, set up an agenda, or play a Spotify playlist, or do whatever it is outside, interact with other APIs and other systems out there. There are going to be lots of things that you need to decide about the framework itself. Are you going to use a model serving platform? Are you going to build things in your data center? Are you going to build your system yourself? Are you going to build those things in the cloud or on-prem? You've got decisions to make there. There's GPU optimization. We haven't even gotten into GPU optimization. That's going to take a lot of information about the metrics that you use, not just optimization, but the power input, maybe even the temperature averages that your chips are generating there. There's going to be a network latency. You're moving this data all around everywhere. There's lots of things to do there. Also, the storage, class, and retention, stuff you're really good at right now. Or vector databases. You're going to use lots of vector databases, and trust me, when you're doing the training, you're going to leave vector databases all over the place. You're going to have to figure out some way to clean those up. Pretty soon, it's dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
All right, so where did we lose you? Was it when we started to use the words like tokens? Was it the diagrams didn't really make any sense to you, but the FinOps terms did, or maybe you actually now have some ideas of things you want to go back to and tackle with your teams next week, or potentially my explanation of quantization was incorrect, you're going to pin me in the back corner and tell me about the new feature that just come out by one of the vendors. It doesn't really matter. The point of all of that exercise is to say that there's a lot of opportunity for FinOps to get involved in all of the decisions and all those opportunities to optimize across the whole AI architecture. Now, AI isn't your business strategy. Being great at AI isn't the outcomes your business is looking for. It's to drive better product features, to drive better revenues, to make faster development cycles with your teams, or maybe just overall to improve the productivity of your staff. And those business objectives are really what should be feeding into the way you're applying your FinOps practice to your organization, to your AI spending. FinOps Scopes allows you to sort of take in those objectives and think about the way you're approaching your different personas, your different capabilities. You're keeping that, FinOps for cloud capabilities, you've got set the targets, the outcomes that you're wanting, but you're starting to define how you're going to approach this particular area of spend and picking the right capability mix that makes sense for where you are in the maturity of your AI today. When we look at the FinOps Scope, the way it plays out is you end up with, as I said, picking the different core personas. And what we see is state of FinOps data showing that most people managing AI spend today are sort of focusing over here in those understand usage and cost side of things, getting their arms around the actual AI spend, if you will.
Yeah, you're also going to have to think about the data sources that you're going to use for this, right? The State of FinOps survey asked the respondents, if you're managing AI costs today, where are you getting those charges from? Where are you getting data about what you're using? And 94% of you said, we're getting that from public cloud. Not surprising, because a lot of AI is still in proof of concept mode in a lot of organizations, and so you're probably experimenting using public cloud resources. 69% of you said you're using AI in SaaS model in some way, so third-party products and third-party vendors who are providing some kind of capability, maybe AI and data analytics platforms that you may be using are part of that. And 32 and 31% of you said you're using AI in your data center. You're using it in your private cloud. Also not surprising. A lot of organizations, particularly highly regulated organizations, fintech and governments and so on, have to have sort of AI trained internally sometimes to be able to do things in a trustworthy way for their customers and have the control they need. But you're also going to have to gather some different information when you're using AI. Those AI tokens are difficult to count. They're difficult to allocate. They're difficult to understand when they're going in and when they're coming out, and who is using those, particularly when you've got big shared models. And you're going to get observability data that's probably going to lead to additional insights into how your models are being used. So observability and telemetry data can be really effective at helping you to tease out and be able to allocate those token costs as you go forward. As both of us are involved heavily in the Focus project, and we hope that you are too, we hope that the Focus project and the Focus spec will be able to capture some of this data as well over time to be able to include the kind of information you would need to be able to do the FinOps jobs that you do on your AI data more effectively. And so as the technical barrier of entry of AI has reduced greatly over the last couple of years, we're seeing more and more people across your organization being able to access and making technical decisions about the choices of using AI in their workflows. And what this means is that those who traditionally would be wearing t-shirts like finance or product, marketing, are now making AI choices as non-technical engineers. And so the way we think about the personas really needs to adopt not being tied to a specific job title, but the activities, the actions that are being taken at the time. And so as you start to roll out FinOps for AI in your organization, you need to look further afield than the traditional engineering teams for those who might be involved in understanding their usage of cost and taking ownership of it. Some of the personas that you're going to be used to working with are going to be groups that you need to work with more. IT security may be a bigger impact on the kinds of AI systems that you're going to be building. We think about this a lot in terms of these little sliders, right? The little equalizer. How many of you had a big equalizer in your car radio? Thank you, old people. I appreciate you being here. But you're going to be able to adjust that thing. We talked in the keynote this morning, JR talked in the keynote this morning about the AI practice profile, right, that you want to establish as you set up your AI scope. you're going to make different decisions about which of the capabilities you're going to use, and you may have to make different decisions about which persona groups you work with most closely. As Mike said, the engineers are not always going to be engineer titles. They may be people in marketing or in HR or in other parts of your business who are acting in that persona of engineer because they're building something that you need to manage. So you may work less with finance, let's say. You may have little budgeting authority as your organization is go, innovate with your cloud, with your AI systems. You may have more interaction or less interaction with ITAM. You may have more interaction with security. You may even have interaction with legal and those kinds of groups who are supporting your business. So be ready to adjust those decisions, be ready to adjust your working style, and go out and reach out to those organizations, those different parts of your organization that are going to be doing that work with you. From the State of FinOps survey, again, this is a slide we showed this morning. We asked who is which capabilities you are using as you are managing different scopes, and all the way on the right there, you see what the responses were for the AI scope. So people who are managing AI, as Mike said, are doing those kind of big for allocation, data ingestion, reporting and analytics, anomaly management, probably not surprising. Given that those are the things that are going to give them the ability to get their arms around and understand their spending at a general level.
And this is kind of reflective of where we are today. But I think FinOps practitioners really need to start thinking, as they start to get their arms around these things, about how you're going to plan to be optimizing and measuring the value of AI. And so these are the sliders in action. And so you imagine as you're looking across those initial set of capabilities, just how you're tailoring the amount of effort you're putting into each. We'll often see that sort of planning and estimating is something that you might really try and tackle first, trying to get good at understanding how to plan and estimate the cost of AI systems that you're deploying. Maybe forecasting and budgeting, as Rob said, you're leaning into an area, you're allowing a bit of freedom of experimentation with your team, so you're maybe having a little less pressure on having particular upfront budgets and forecasts. And then unit economics really takes sort of one of two different ways. It's taking those AI costs and incorporating them into your existing reports and your existing metrics like cost to serve, because it is now a component part of that total report. Making sure that you avoid double counting, especially when some of this AI workloads is running on top of your cloud. And then the other part will be maybe looking at tailoring some of your unit metrics specific to the performance of your AI. And so the cost per training run, the cost per prompt, those sorts of unit metrics. And then when we look at benchmarking in this space, there is an overlap of terms. You will see AI practitioners or AI engineers looking at the benchmarking, the quality of their training models. At the same time, in FinOps space, we've really thought about benchmarking as like how much should we be spending on running a training run against the industry. And so we do need to be cautious of when we use that word benchmarking as for which way we're trying to use the word.
Yeah, I think that's another great way that people within the FinOps community can get together and talk about how they're benchmarking their costs internally. I was speaking to some folks at the session last night about how they're doing that, and even just understanding like the same challenges are popping up in so many different organizations. Again, back to this is really just FinOps. FinOps, that's been a common theme in FinOps all this time as well. Just understanding that others are facing those same kind of challenges, talking about ways that you've been successful at managing some of those. As you get into that optimize state though, there are going to be some things that you probably should be thinking about doing sooner rather than later, and I want to talk about a few of those. So in the architecting for cloud area, this may be where you're actually helping with some of the model selection, helping to determine are the models that are being selected by groups that are building AI systems in your organization the most effective models right now. Come to the keynote tomorrow for a really great example of how this can be super impactful in the way that you build your system. And that's something that your FinOps team should be getting involved in. You may be doing workload optimization. You may be doing VM right sizing. Again, use the skills you have, the experience you have at right sizing the infrastructure layer at the least as you're getting involved in helping out these engineering teams build the AI systems that they're building. There are going to be opportunities to commit to discounts. Again, these are very expensive resources, so there's going to be an important job of being careful about what you're buying commitments for, given the short duration of life of a lot of these systems. But there is going to be an important aspect to buying commitments and paying the least amount for things that you know you're going to use over a period of time. Cloud sustainability is going to be a bigger topic with a lot of these AI systems because there's going to be additional focus on it. But there are also opportunities for you to do very high intensity workloads, to run training models at times when energy is less expensive, at times of day when it's less expensive, in places where it's less expensive as well. So these are considerations your organization should be taking into account. And then finally, licensing and SaaS is going to come in there very heavily when you're deciding whether to build things, whether to buy things, or how to build the models that you're doing. So are you prematurely optimizing here? There are going to be cases where where you need to stand by and where you need to allow the teams, the engineering teams, to innovate, to explore, to experiment, to fail fast and fail hard. But there are going to be times where you need to step in and do that as well.
Yeah, so I guess to sort of quote Peter Drucker, there's nothing quite so useless as doing with great efficiency something that you should not be doing at all. And I think the point here is that you're going to allow teams to experiment. Maybe they discover that there just isn't the value in that, what that experiment was going to do, and it becomes something that they close off and remove all that architecture. So spending time while they're experimenting and playing around with the idea to optimize it really doesn't pay beneficial to the business. But where there is proper opportunities for you to optimize, you should be taking advantage of those, because you want to be freeing up that budget for other AI activities that your organization could take advantage of in the org.
Yep.
And so, AI can be frightening and it can be confusing, but ultimately the message here is that you know more than you think you do about how to do FinOps for AI. We built the FinOps framework and it applies perfectly to the FinOps AI space, especially since we've added scopes. So start to figure out what are your business objectives with AI and start to tailor your scope and those capability mix for you to get your arms around spend and plan for how to get to the measuring value and optimizing.
Yeah, so FinOps really gives you, as always, the FinOps framework gives you the building blocks, right? To build your practice in the way that's most appropriate. That's going to let you get your arms around the cost generally, but then ideally get you to drive into the decisions that are being made at all those points in that architecture, in that complex architecture. To be a voice in the room to say, are we thinking about this in the correct way and putting it together? And we asked AI over there to give us a little image of working with those building blocks to do that, and it gave us this lovely image, which I guess reminds us to do everything from M-forming all the way down to Bezier, which are new capabilities in the framework coming soon, I'm sure. So, what to do next? First off, do not panic. You have this, you know how to do these things with cloud, and that was as difficult a challenge as it will be for AI.
Yeah, meet with some of the vendors. I saw a lot of labels of AI on booths downstairs on the expo floor. They are going to have different ideas of how you can approach this and the ways that they could potentially help you, but at least understanding that there is a lot of knowledge that's starting to build in this community, and so sharing that and asking for it while you're here at FinOps X, so that you go home with as much of that as you can use for fodder.
Yeah. 3, that top QR code up there is the FinOps for AI training course. As we mentioned this morning, the FinOps for AI training course is going to be a thing that is a series of learnings that you're going to get over the next year, almost year. And this is going to be a way for you to participate, to gain knowledge yourself about how these things, how the AI systems work, and how to get the best value out of the things that you're investing in.
The FinOps for AI working groups worked really hard, and we thank for everyone who's contributed to the papers that we've published. You can access all of those materials on the FinOps.org website, and there's a whole depth of knowledge that's starting to form in this space available there. We also run community calls, and Dean is up the back there is one of the gentlemen in our foundation and part of our group of regional ambassadors that run those community calls, and often they will have calls dedicated to talking about exactly this topic.
Yeah. Then go and meet with the people in your organization, right? Meet with the people who are doing this work in your company. Meet with the AI platform team or your cloud platform team and figure out what it is that they're doing, what it is that they're planning, how they're planning to do that. Talk to the AI evangelists, talk to the AI solution teams that are building stuff in your organization. Many of you probably had this experience as you started FinOps, right? You came into your organization and said, who's the cloud person here, right? There's somebody in the organization who's pushing this agenda, who's talking about what we're going to do, all the things we're going to accomplish, how that's going to be valuable to the company. Find and engage with those people. That's what you're good at in the FinOps team, is doing that collaboration, working across boundaries, and getting people to work together. So continue to do that in this area in particular. Ask questions and get engaged with them as much as you can.
And then please go and create your FinOps for AI scope. If we can help you along your journey, and the FinOps for AI working group is also there to help you. And we'd love to have you all up on stage next year talking about how you've done this AI scope in your organization.
Yep. And with that, we'll open it up for questions. Thank you very much.
Mike and Rob, these guys are really funny. Really enjoyed your talk.
Hey guys, thank you so much. Enjoyed your talk as well. And I also did think you were funny. Quick question for you. So my question is related to probably like the first couple of slides, because that's where I'm in my journey. How would you say we should go about identifying our baseline footprint of what resources we are going to need for AI? I know you listed a few, but I'm talking in terms of like everybody is kind of starting to get into the AI space. Everybody's very excited. And before we know it, it's going to kind of just skyrocket. So I want to know how I would also forecast for it. Like what kind of thought process should be put into it to say like, okay, this is where I expected my infrastructure uses to be, but I also expect it to kind of go up. And in general, how have you seen people attempt that?
Yeah. So I think there's two parts to that question. So for the forecasting part, I think that this is definitely an area where we're going to get better at as a community. I think, if I kind of reflect where I think the AI space is now versus we were, maybe 3-4 years ago with cloud. You saw on stage in the keynote this morning about the Nubank story about how they got better at forecasting. I think we're going to go through that same story arc with AI. And the reason that I don't think that we can just go straight to running in forecasting is because of the variability of the token responses. You heard, I think it was Pravir in the Cloud VP talk about tokens in and tokens out. You can maybe think about the cost of tokens in, but it's hard to predict what the tokens out is going to be. And so I think that this is one area where I think as a community we can come together and talk about the different approaches we're taking, and if we're seeing early success, we'd love to share that with the rest of the group, which is really the main sort of thing that we see with the foundation, is being able to bring the people together, exploring in this stuff, and be able to share the learnings that we have as a community.
Yeah, I guess I would jump in and just recommend a few things to read. I'm now realizing that the QR code at the top is not the QR code for the training, it's the QR code at the bottom. The QR code at the top is the FinOps for AI topic page on FinOps.org. We're FinOps.org people, so we're going to recommend FinOps.org, of course. But this is a place where the AI working group outputs have been placed, and you can access those and read those there. There are a number of you, a lot of you in the room. Brent is here, and I see several other people in the back who are members of the AI working group. So this is a growing organization of people who are managing AI spend now, some of whom have been using AI for long periods of time, some of whom have been AI system architects for a long time. So that group has originally created a series of 3 papers that talk about forecasting your AI costs, involved about sort of identifying what those AI costs are and then thinking about how they're going to change over time. Some of those costs go up, some of those costs go dramatically down, and then thinking about how optimization can actually impact the forecasts over time and how to sort of react to that. So I would recommend going to that site, reading the AI overview paper, and then running through those 3 forecasting papers, which will give you some of that benefit. But I do agree with Mike. This is an area. I was speaking with several of the members of the AI working group last night at one of the parties, and one of them said, I was feeling really bad about how my forecasting was working internally until I talked to a bunch of other people who were managing AI. And when I asked them, how are you managing that spend in? He said, oh, we're just letting the engineers do whatever they want to, right? So, and it's like, breathe a sigh of relief. That is a strategy that you can use when you're in POC mode for a lot of these things, but that can also, as you point out, lead to a lot of shadow IT and sort of things that are going on behind the scenes that you really want to keep an eye on. So as a FinOps team, getting that visibility and then kind of being ready I think that sort of sums up what we're saying here is be ready to pick up these costs, both the forecasting as you get more capability in it, but also all the optimization work that will probably be coming as POCs turn into production systems. Yeah.
Hi, Rom.
Okay.
Hi, Mike. First of all, thank you so much for having me in AI working group and seeing where we started and where we are here today. And the one area of the issue I'm seeing with the customers when suggesting the FinOps in AI is we're telling them what type of models to be chosen and how you need to set up the inference and how you need to mitigate the latency. I mean, the high-level cost considerations and then cost planning, right? And they're slowly asking, can you give me a reference architecture, how you need to set up the FinOps becoming like a cloud AI architect slowly? You know, the expectations are being increased because they are not into the cost optimization. But when someone wants to do the cost optimization, they have to aware how the cloud has been set up.
Yeah.
And indirectly, they're being part of the ARB, Architecture Review Board, and Technical Design Authority, and EA governance, and suggesting more into the architecture also. So I'm so glad to see how powerful FinOps has become today to help architects be more proactive.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect area where shift left pays huge dividends, right? Not only are the resources that are running AI systems very expensive, but they're also evolving so much more quickly than older instances, right? I know people who are still running, very, very old instances of EC2, those things don't become obsolete and disappear. AI models do. And so that's going to be a challenge that I think everybody's going to have. So getting involved as early as possible in the process, and then being able to go back and modernize the choices that you're making, make different choices along the way, is going to be really important as these systems continue to evolve. Yeah.
I'll throw it. I'll do it.
Yes.
I have to think that with the amount of electricity that's being used for AI, you talked about it being generally additive and not replacing something else. Yeah. Has there been a lot of conversation about the potential impact to sustainability goals for corporations? Because I suspect it can't be good, right?
There has been a lot of discussion around sustainability of AI, yeah, because as you say, there's a lot of additional things that are going on. And that's one of the reasons why I think, while FinOps and cost is not a perfect analog, of course, for sustainability or for power usage, it is a correlated feature. So this is an area where I think having a good hold on, a good understanding of what it is that you're using can pay a lot of dividends in the sustainability area as well. The workload, the types of workloads and the ways that they use resources are very different in some cases from what I'll call traditional cloud. Isn't it great to have traditional cloud now? And so it bears a lot of scrutiny, right? As you're looking at that thing to make sure that you're acting most responsibly.
So I think we keep putting sustainability into our slides and into our talk track and into our framework because we do think it's important for the FinOps community to be aware of and look towards having that part of the conversation. I know that a lot of practitioners are like, just let me get my hands around the cost first and then I'll think about the other thing. But it really is driven by the ecosystem around the organization to how much carbon decisions are going, like how much decisions are being influenced by the carbon of an organization. And we do think that the FinOps practitioner can be one of those evangelists to the organization that it is important. And then, yeah, it really does come down to where the organization is based. A lot of the European organizations are a little bit more tuned into thinking about sustainability things. And I say that not as an American, but even someone in Australia where the companies there are still not as tuned into it. It's probably the one place where we've leaned into an area before the practitioners doing it. Generally, we report what's going on. But we know that there's a lot of interest from practitioners around sustainability to be added, but we just need more evangelism to happen in organizations to turn it to reality.
Yeah. Hey everyone, producer Andrew here. Thank you so much for watching and for your support. For more FinOps X 2025 content, go check out our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, and leave comments and questions for all of our wonderful speakers. We appreciate your support.